Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show.
It may well possess a rudimentary intelligence.
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Felt a great disturbance in the force.
Hello, I'm Mr. Red.
Come on, bark like a dog for me.
Where's the goodies?
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
I'll bet you wouldn't have done anything like this if Mom and Dad were here.
You filthy criminal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Here are your hosts, Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
This is where you want to be, right here on Everything Old is New Again. And we're here with the showman himself, David Cohen.
Thank you, Doug, for having me here.
Showmans usually know how to use the microphone.
Well, I do because I was singing very loudly.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want this to pop. That's what we say in the industry is pop, the popping. Now that I brought the show to a screeching halt, let's move on.
Well, we're here with Angelica Viviani as well for a side commentary here and there. My 9-year-old daughter, Angelica, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Okay, so you can talk into the microphone too. Now,
just so people know, this is my competition. Angelica,
Yes.
I'm afraid someday soon will replace me here in the booth. But I'm okay with that. You know what? I've come to peace with it. So welcome. Let's work as a team. Let's try not to vie for your father's attention too much. It's not a competition, okay? I'm kidding.
And
You're so cute.
There is
Let's
no
go.
replacement for David Cohen, the best co-host.
Yes, there is.
Radio.
She's sitting to my right. But that's enough.
We'll see.
Let's keep going.
But last year, did you know that 7.5 years of struggle ensued where Hugh Jackson finally got...
Jackman?
Let's try this again. Last year, after 7.5 years of struggle, Hugh Jackman finally got his pet project off the ground, and with a budget of $85 million, earned a total of $433 million to date. This is the new original musical made for the movies, a rarity to say the least, The Greatest Showman. In 2016, La La Land was released and also earned about $450 million and winning the Academy Award for Best Musical, Best Director, and more, paving the way for the greatest show. Of course, this is what we're going to talk about today, The Greatest Showman, and that opens the door to the discussion of the original movie musical in general.
Meaning what? Define it.
I want to say that this is a movie that was not, or work that was not anywhere else on television. It wasn't a television show previously, and certainly it wasn't a Broadway show previously. It's a movie, brand new entertainment, brand new project, brand new concept,
never before
all
done.
New music, just produced for the movies.
Yeah.
Now, I think that's very rare. I went through and searched to try to find other movies like The Greatest Showman and La La Land that were created just for the movie. I'm going to throw down this list to you and see if you like any of these, know of any of these. There was Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers' Top Hat. There's The Wizard of Oz. This is the 1930s. There's Yankee Doodle Dandy, 1940s, that James Cagney won an Oscar for, playing the part of George M. Cohen. There's Anchors Away with Gene Kelly and Jerry the Mouse in the 40s. There's An American in Paris, Gene Kelly. There's Singing in the Rain, Gene Kelly. There's High Society, Grace Kelly, Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra in the 50s. And it's only a few more. There's Mary Poppins, Sound of Music. Rocky Horror Picture Show in the 70s. Tommy with The Who, Blues Brothers, believe it or not, in the 80s, your least favorite, Purple Rain, and then in 84, it stopped until Moulin Rouge in 2001, and then again, La La Land in 16, and where we're at now, The Greatest Showman. That's only 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 movies. I'm sure I missed some, but that's not a lot of movies.
No, it's not. It's not.
So why is that? What's this all about?
Because, why would they do something original and spend so much money on a big movie production when there's no proving ground for it prior? It's very rare to do that these days, right, Angelica? You're just
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you, this is where this is coming from. We sat for family movie night and said, we want to watch a movie, but we don't know what movie to watch, and we've seen a lot of these other movies, and we said, begrudgingly, I said, all right, I'll try this movie. I like P.T. Barnum. I like his story. I always wanted to learn more about it. But when I heard it was a musical, I said, what are we doing? Because the musicals, a lot of times, the music is not so good.
Exactly.
Let's face it, right? So or if it's been on Broadway, you've already seen it, or it's a different schmaltz to that, if that makes sense. So I was like, I don't really know, but all right, I'll give it a shot, guys. So we turned it on, and from the beginning, we could not turn it off. And we were inspired, and in fact, that night when it was over, we started playing before we went to sleep the music again on our cell phone before we went to sleep.
Can I say something?
Yes. So tell us why. I was going to ask you. So what was about it, Angela? What made you like this so much, Angelica?
Well, I liked it because it was like a good idea to like make it like a musical and stuff, and like it was like I liked it because like the music and the characters and like the lesson.
Well, then so the musicals, it taught you a lesson, you're saying? And what was the lesson a little bit?
Kind of like to just like follow your dream and stuff, and it was a really good movie. And like when we put like it on, Leo and I were like just trying to like sing it even though we didn't know the words. Right. It was really good.
It's a good point. I'd never seen people do that where they never heard the music before and already were singing, if you will, the song as it's going without knowing the words.
That's cool.
Humming it, and that's amazing to me. That was incredible. So I was like, wow, what the heck? This is really something. But also, what about the message about, people being different and not always being the same, but it's okay to accept them for what they are, right?
Yeah, that was like the main thing.
But also, he had a dream, and he wanted to follow that dream, and so he did everything he could to pursue that dream in spite of all the obstacles, right?
Does your dad usually answer the questions he's asking you before you have a chance to answer them? Is that how it...
He kind of asks me questions, but then he answers them.
He answers them, right? Don't you notice? He does that with me also.
I'm like, well, and then he just continues.
Yeah, he just barges in, and he doesn't need you here, in other words. He just wants someone to go, yes.
Well, that's called the Socratic method. You allow the student,
No, but you're not allowing the student.
No, you allow the student to answer it as feebly as they do, and then you feed them the real answer and have them affirm that, and then they feel that they answered it, but they didn't, but they still learned the message.
That is so not what Socrates meant.
Well, it's the Socratic method plus. It's my own addition to it. But that's the point, is that the music is very good. What about the choreography? The choreography.
It was really
let her answer this. Okay, wait, no,
but talk into the microphone, please.
Okay. All right. So the
choreography, which is the dancing.
Yeah. So the.
Let her answer it.
So,
when they dance on top of the roof.
So. You just gave away a spoiler. All right, so the choreography was
over
amazing.
the top. Remember, we're on the radio. You can't be silent.
Well, it was amazing, and they really worked hard for it, and they were really good choreography and stuff, and they really did it. And one of them was at the end they were giving was it that
the hat? They passed the hat?
They passed it doing these stunts, and they would just
yeah, in the ending they passed the hat, the top hat from character to character.
Yeah, I got that. Yes, I understand what your daughter's saying. Thank you for clarifying that.
And then at one point they're dancing on a roof, and then they're because they were hanging their laundry on the clothesline, and as they flip the person up, it was moving with them and stuff.
Oh,
it was
cool.
really good.
And so we watched Dancing with the Stars. So Angelica's a fan of dancing and is familiar with that, and to see different moves, we saw moves here that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Right? And so it was really very creative, and I would say that it's worth a shot to take a look at.
Yeah.
When we continue, I want to take a look at the message of P.T. Barnum. Yeah. Is P.T. Barnum a proper subject for a movie? Should he be admired or not? What did he do with his life? And is this a reason to watch The Greatest Showman, which is, again, a rarity because it's an original movie, not from a Broadway show? We'll be back right after this on Everything Old is New Again.
Go back again to the world that you were living in, 'cause you dream with your eyes wide open. So come alive.
You're listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see, a million dreams, all it's gonna take.
Welcome back to Everything Old is New Again. Douglas Viviani with the ever-present Leo Viviani singing one of these songs.
Was Leo.
One of the songs from the show.
Can we tell them what it's named?
Yes, go ahead.
It's called A Million Dreams, and it's a really good song.
Yeah, so with this week, we're taking a look at, in general, we're talking about the original movie musical, and in particular, this week, we're talking about the latest release in that genre, which is The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. And let's look at the messages from this movie, and maybe we'll try to convince David and someone else to go see this movie if the messages have any significance whatsoever. That was Leo singing because he loves that song.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm not big on musicals. Okay, I'm not. I saw the Band's Visit, which, by the way, you guys should go see because it just swept all the Tony Awards because it was a different kind of musical. It wasn't this, the pageantry and the dance numbers. I'm not big on that, to be honest with you. But just looking and seeing the reaction that you have to this movie, that makes me want to go see it. But I'm not sold like on the lyrics, so maybe that'll help me because sometimes I think they're just too like we're all having fun because it's good to have fun, that sort of thing.
Exactly, and what's important to me is that this duo of Pasek and Paul. Have you heard of them?
No.
They're a songwriting duo that have created this work of art, if you will, and they were the ones, the writers behind the music of La La Land, which was, I think, broke ground and enabled this movie to be made. They also have a modern touch with the hip-hop choreography, plus, again, the lyrics. So let's listen to a little bit about that. Let's listen to a little bit of two songs, A Million Dreams and Come Alive, and we actually just heard a little bit of of a million dreams. So let's read a little bit of 2 paragraphs real quick. I close my eyes and I can see the world that's waiting up for me, that I can call my own through the dark, through the door, though there's no one been there before, but it feels like home. They can say that it sounds crazy. They can say that I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. So there's a little boy in the movie, and he's dreaming of, and it's P.T. Barnum, of what he wants to do with his life, and he doesn't want to do what everybody else is doing.
Right, sure.
So he's saying here, you can dream and you can achieve what you want to. You don't need to be doing what everybody else says you're supposed to do.
Exactly. Great. That's great.
So, and that's the one that Leo sings. He loves that one. There's another one here, a little bit of Come Alive, and then we'll play a little bit of piece of a song. But let's see if this resonates at all. Go stumble through your days, got your head hung low, your sky's a shade of gray like a zombie in a maze. You're asleep inside, but you can shake awake, cause there's just a dead man walking, thinking that's your only option. But you can flip the switch and brighten up your darkest day. Sun is up and the colors blinding. Take a world and redefine it. Leave behind your narrow mind. You'll never be the same. Come alive, come alive.
Yeah,
yes,
I like that.
I mean, that's a little something there. And it's again, I think musicals, like I said, no one would watch it with you. I think it should be experienced with other people, and maybe an experience to acknowledge and see afterwards if people enjoyed the
music. Would you watch
or not.
it again with me?
I would definitely watch it again with you. We can go upstairs and watch it right after the show. How about that?
Yay!
How about Rewrite the Stars?
How do we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing can keep us apart. 'Cause you are the one I was meant to find. It's up to you, and it's up to me, and no one can say what we get to be.
So So the last part of that is, it's up to you, it's up to me. No one can say what we can be.
I think Leo should be singing that.
He
Sorry.
should be. You're right.
Yeah, I'd rather hear him sing.
The point, of course, is there's a relationship between people that shouldn't be together. It's 1880s, 1860s, and it's an interracial couple, and the people are down on it, and they're trying to fight through that. So again, another nice message of we can rewrite the stars and change those silly rules and get along together, no problem.
Right. Cool.
So I think it's there for you. It's nice. How about this one? We've got little Angelica singing "This Is Me." You've had to have heard this song. I don't know. Let's see. There she goes, little
Nice
piece of
voice.
Angelica.
Very nice. I like it.
It's an anthem. It's become an anthem for. Have you heard that song or a little bit or no?
No, I haven't. I have not.
When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send in a flood and I'm gonna drown them out.
Good.
I'm brave and I'm bruised and so forth. I make
That's
no
great.
apologies. This is me. So
That's great. Good messages.
Good messages so far. There's one more that we'll present, and then we'll talk. We'll discuss, if you will. I think the power of family. And in the beginning of the play, you hear a song where he's talking about from now on. Well, this is the greatest show, and this is it, and this is where you want to be. This is where I want to be. And at the end of the movie, not to ruin it, it's not a spoiler. It's a bookend where he says, from now on, this is where I want to be with my family. He gives up all the showbiz for the family. So, anyway, let's see a little piece of that.
What's waited till tomorrow starts tonight? It starts tonight.
Now, if like an anthem, it's hard from now on.
Sure.
He's going to be and do the things he wants to do, not what he thinks he needs to do for his business.
Right.
That makes sense. So I don't know if these messages resonate or not. It's pie in the sky. It's but I think in our world we sort of need something nice that there's a lot of other stuff out there too. There's Walking Dead and whatever else, right? But there's room, I think, for something that's nice too, isn't there?
I think there's more than room. I think these should be out there more than most other movies are. With messages like that, and not just for kids, like Angelica and Leo, but for guys our age. I mean, it sort of applies to everybody in every walk of life, and I don't think there's enough of it, to be honest with you.
I almost feel with doing this show that it's especially this section, that it's almost preachy or it's almost corny, and I shouldn't feel that way, is what you're saying in some ways, and that it's appropriate. It's a nice affirmation that I think we used to get in our entertainment a lot more than we get now, that the family's okay, that it's okay to be an individual, that it's okay to do your own thing and be your own person, take a chance for that. I think the only thing I see that has that message really is like America's Got Talent or something like that. Well, once in a while they always say, strive for do your own thing, and this person gave up this, that, and the other to be on that show or whatever. But there's more to life than just singing on a stage or doing your act.
Right.
But it's symbolic of
Yes.
what the message I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to, run a circus. You could. It's whatever you want to do is okay, and just do it.
Right. And Angelica, did you take any of these messages out of the movie, or did you just like it, if you will, for the music, which is fine too? That's okay.
I think I liked it for both reasons, because they both brought a special part of the movie, so both of them
right.
are good.
Okay.
I think.
And do you think that it's something that you'll want to watch this movie again ever? Do you think do you listen to this music, or what goes on?
Well, I do listen to this music. Two friends of mine love it, so that's good. I think wait, what was the question again?
Well, I mean, will you watch the movie again, do you think, ever? Or will you turn on the radio or whatever, an iPad and listen to the music ever?
Well, yes, and I've seen the movie 3 times, so I guess I will see it again, but I would want to see something else to experience more
so it's fun to watch a movie with
alone.
Right.
You keep on saying.
Right. It's fun to watch a movie with someone that hasn't seen it before, right?
Yeah, so then they could think of their own perspective, like it or not like it.
Right. How about that? So now the question here is, or the thought is, we have told other people about the movie, and lots of them, it's on underground, have seen it and never talk about it. No one, like you said, you saw two people in school, and
so my friends, so some of them seen it like last year, but then some of them are seeing it now, and it's becoming a big deal now than the year it was made.
Oh, wow.
Because more people are seeing it than last year, because last year no one really saw it.
Well, they may
but
not
now-
have gone to the movies, is what we're saying, right? But they're watching it at home.
Yeah, and then they end up liking it or not liking it. But like it was more big of a deal this year than last year, which is kind of surprising.
Interesting. It is surprising.
Yeah. I mean, I would not have.
That's great. Now, have you seen La La Land also?
No, because I don't know what it's about, and I don't know if it's kid friendly.
Oh,
or
yeah,
not.
right. Is it kid friendly?
I think it is. I have to see it. I'm not sure.
I'm just thinking of other movies that are like that are age appropriate.
There's not a ton. Now, of course, Disney does their animated movies that are original music like Lion King.
Different, right?
But we're not really talking about that. We're in a different world with that.
I was in Lion King, FYI.
Okay, well, that's another story. All right, well, what do you want to say about that? You enjoyed doing that,
was
too?
a
You're
great
little
experience,
actress.
and also like music.
Yes.
You need to have some music.
Little 9-year-old.
And there was a message in that music, too. Just
Sure
like,
was.
like the
Yes.
movie, right?
I think of what the world
We'll be right back.
could be, a vision of the one I see, a million dreams, all it's gonna take.
Now, back to America's entertainment pop culture talk show. Everything old is new again, with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
You think because she's so beautiful and I'm just a young hun. To me, you're a man. But to her, you're only something to laugh at.
Let her try doing anything to one of us.
A little hard to interpret that. This is Everything Old is New Again with David Cohen, Angelica Viviani. That was a little clip of a movie from the 1930s called Freaks. Now, do you remember seeing that?
I do.
And actually, it was 1932. David and I went to the movies in the Balcony Movie Theater in Huntington on Route 110, or really New York Avenue in the town of Huntington, in 79, and saw that movie. Now, how do I remember that?
I don't know how you remember that.
What was it about?
Well, I think 'cause it was, it was a pretty shocking movie. Even though it was made in 1932.
There are some movies that you see and you remember the time frame and who you saw them with and so forth. But what was shocking, I mean, if you remember this setup, I mean, it basically was a movie that featured, now this is now 50 years after P.T. Barnum was done with the circus, but his legacy existed and continued, where, as we should I be aware in history, that the circus began, or at least his circus began, featuring human beings that had some unfortunate circumstances.
Right.
And some oddities, they called them. And a horrible word for them was freaks.
Right.
And that's what the name of the movie was, to promote and show the idea that the human beings really were the freaks. Or the
right. And
enemy.
the people with the deformities were not.
Right, because they lived together, if you will, as a family, looking out for each other. And you hear in that clip, there's a woman that wants to date a gentleman that's stunted his growth, and he has an inheritance of a lot of money. So you hear his girlfriend talking there and saying she just wants to laugh at you, she just wants your money, and that turns out to be true, and she does some evil things, and these quote freaks, or these individuals, that's his family, basically get back at
to
this
his
person.
defenseman, right? To
Right.
his defense, yep.
So, I mean, what would you? I mean, that's hard to say. Do you remember walking out of that theater feeling good, bad, or what? I mean, it was an odd experience.
Yeah, no, I felt good knowing that I saw the movie. I felt good about that because I definitely learned something.
Right.
Yeah, and it was just a piece of history and culture that I really didn't know about. So,
And so when now P.T. Barnum did this, we have to put ourselves back basically into the 1860s. There was our civilization was a little less nice, if you will, and these
not as
individuals,
accepting.
not as accepting, right? And these people were, in some ways, many ways, ostracized in their individual lives. So apparently, we weren't there. I'm trying to get through history books and things of what really happened. It seems that it's unquestionable that P.T. Barnum got these people into his circus, however he did it, and for whatever reasons, and he was able to give them a feeling of family together, where they were paid for their condition, or the exhibition of their condition. But the question is, were they exploited, and what did they feel about it? They made money from this. They garnered in some ways a family feeling from these other people that were in their same condition, so to speak, or same position. But was it an exploitation? Well, they were paid. They stayed with the circus after he left. Many of them stayed for years and years and years. In fact, part of the story of P.T. Barnum is that his original circus, if you will, or his original museum, they called it, was in New York City, a real building. It burned down. There was no insurance. He was destroyed. He was destitute. Tom Thumb, who was one of his main stars, and by the way, became a huge cultural icon in the world. He met the Queen of England and was respected for that, and respected later on for his financial acumen. He lent or paid, I don't know exactly how it worked, but he came up with the money to rebuild P.T. Barnum's circus by using tents instead of a solid building. So just for looking at the evidence, if this Tom Thumb felt exploited, would he have given or lent, whichever he did, the money to P.T. Barnum to rebuild this circus which he was performing in?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't
just
know.
throwing it out there,
Right.
because there's a lot of people who can look back and say, what a bad guy this guy was, P.T. Barnum. He exploited these people. I'm not so sure that it's that simple a thought, Like these, and these people stayed with the.
I guess I can't judge on that,
Right.
because I just don't know. I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it was like to live in that era and be in that time and be one of those people, and what the choices they had at the
Right.
point, and how they felt about it morally or what have you. It's it's kind of a hot topic, really.
It is, and that's something
dicey.
It's dicey. But I want to explore just the idea that at least we can learn from fictional interpretations of real events. Let's say if this wasn't as wonderful a situation as presented in The Greatest Showman, what comes from it is the message of acceptance of all of these people, and their anthem, which is "This Is Me," which you hear all over now, which is a positive from this experience.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I don't
Yeah.
really know that we're able to judge, and I don't think anyone should say, I don't want to watch this movie and P.T. Barnum was a bad guy because he exploited these people. I'm not sure that's the case, and so that's not really the message that is being presented by the movie anyway. No one's saying
right.
the
Exactly.
reverse.
They're not rewriting, or what you're saying is they're not giving a spin on whether or not what he did was morally correct. They're just basically giving the positive image of acceptance, and it's a movie, right?
Right,
it's a movie
exactly.
with a good message.
So I think it is appropriate, and I think they handled it beautifully in giving two messages: acceptance, of course, and you're beautiful inside, and have some courage to be who you are, and also that they became a family. It's something that I didn't really think about. Maybe I never really thought about the topic that much to begin with, but they, as this movie Freaks also showed in 1932, that it's not a new idea that these people became a family unto themselves because they were shunned by other people. It's almost like,
Right.
I don't know if that's fair, but when people growing up and you're ostracized because you're a nerd or you're a sports guy or whatever it might be, you sort of surround yourselves by the same kind of people.
Other people who suffer like you suffer,
and then years later, you realize you've been very close with these people. You've been through things with these people and developed a nice relationship together as a result. So that does exist. And just as an aside, Tom Browning, who was the director of Dracula, directed this movie Freak. So he wasn't some kind of a independent little thing. This was a mainstream movie that they had to cut down back in the day. He did a 96-minute movie. They cut it down for the theaters to 62 minutes. I honestly don't know what was cut out, and they've lost that section. Apparently, this more controversial film that went on with this. I remember my grandfather had gone to the P.T. Barnum Circus when he was born in 1901, so he was his 20s, let's say 1920s. He saw the circus. They still had this quote freak show, and he came back from it with a big ring that was from the Giant, whoever that was, and there's a ring his size. And I was thinking to myself, wow, it's odd. It's an odd thing that people would display themselves like this. But I never didn't look at the other side of it from their point of view, whether it was good or bad or not. They were using, like Andre the Giant in a way, used his gifts for wrestling, which made him a lot of money, which I think made him happy. I think every story is that he was a happy guy, living the life that he lived. So making lemons out of lemonade, I don't know if that makes sense, if it's even appropriate, but it did exist. It was this. They made money off of this, like with all the merchandise and paraphernalia and so forth. I don't know how it was handled. I have no idea. I wasn't there.
But the other thing that's interesting is what people considered, freaks back in the day. You look at them today, and they're really not anymore, right?
That's true.
I mean, our perception, and I think that's a good thing, the perception and the acceptance that there is today, I don't think, lends itself to the situation that existed over 100 years ago.
Exactly.
A bearded woman, a short person, a tall, these really freak. No,
and would we
of course
consider
not.
that like entertainment to go visit these people?
no.
You know what I mean?
God.
It's so obnoxious. It's
Right.
but you got to place yourself back in the day and take the message for what it was in the movie. It's a musical, And all right, we'll be back right after this to continue our last discussion of Everything Old is New Again. Let's look at the musical. Hello.
I make no apologies. This is me.
This is Everything Old is New Again, America's entertainment pop culture talk show with Douglas Viviani and David Cohen.
It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. I was here right in front of you. This is where you want to be. It's everything you ever want. Hit it, girl.
She is. Good old Angelica Viviani bringing us back from the commercial break to talk about the original movie musical, and in this particular song was from The Greatest Showman. Angelica, you enjoyed singing that? Yes or no?
Yes,
You're on the radio.
you
Good answer.
obviously did. Admit it. Come on.
He really was. It was good. You were good at it.
Thank you.
So we could be the new Cowsills. Anybody know who that is?
True. Yeah, a family pop band,
Right.
a singing group,
The Partridge Family, the new Partridge Family.
right?
Yeah, but I don't know what that is. But okay.
Well, we got Leo and you, and
You?
Yeah.
Well, there's 4 of you.
and Mom could be part of it. She could be the one playing the piano.
I'll be Kincaid. I'll be the manager.
the brains behind the outfit.
Right. Yeah, and Leo and I will always butt heads.
Right.
Like
David Bonaducci. Leo could do that. He could play that role now at 6. He does that every other night when I tell him time to go to sleep.
You don't, like, your singing's kind of.
Oh, well.
Wait, we're going to speak into the mic and say that.
Yeah.
What is
no,
that?
I don't think I didn't hear that.
My dad's singing is kind of like.
Yeah. Okay.
It's off key. It's bad.
It's real.
Now we're talking about
it's really bad.
Talking about bad. P.T. Barnum compared to Hugh Jackman. Have you seen this? Big difference. Would this movie have ever been made without Hugh Jackman? Is a better question. Would it be just based upon P.T. Barnum? You think it would have been made, or how big is Hugh Jackman? Do you think he's? I don't get the perception that he's a big Hollywood star, but he was able to carry this and finance or get financing for an $85 million movie that he financed. The Greatest Showman, not he financed, but he starred in. And he's Wolverine. He was in Les Mis. But what's your perception of this gentleman? I mean, is he a big star? I don't know.
I think he is. I mean,
think he is,
this.
too.
Yeah, just. I mean, Les Mis was very well received. Also,
He won the
And-
Tony for something else years ago on Broadway.
Yeah, so he's a very.
Yeah.
He almost flies under that A-list superstar radar a little bit, right?
You know what it is? He
He's not-
doesn't do these interviews. He's not out in Hollywood. He lives out on Long Island.
Yeah.
If you know it, he's out in the Hamptons. He doesn't get involved with Hollywood celebrities. His only friend, from what I understand, Hollywood is Seinfeld, and he's a very down-to-earth guy. He's been married. If this means anything, I don't know, but married to the same woman like 30 years. He's a family guy. So I don't know if that takes it away, but I just don't get the, I guess because you don't see it in the news all the time, you don't get the impression that he's this huge star, but I've never seen anything he's been in that's not been good.
Right, that's true. And he's and Mila Kunis is also with him every step of the way in all these movies.
So underrated. It's unbelievable.
We're harking back to another show where I touted the acting prowess of Mila Kunis, to which Doug laughed heartily.
Yeah, I did. Now,
Anyway,
Zac
Yes.
Efron, another one that was in High School Musical. That he was in that
He's a
Baywatch.
heartthrob.
He was in Baywatch with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I don't think much of this guy, but in this movie, he was outstanding. And Zendaya, I've seen her just from Dancing with the Stars, and she has a much smaller part, but she was very well received in this movie, this Greatest Showman. I don't know, came out of nowhere. I guess that's another thing, is like these people, I don't know. Do you go to movies because certain people are starring in them? Does that carry the day for you, or no?
I mean, that used to be the thing a long time ago.
Yes.
If Jimmy Stewart was in a movie, or, certainly, Olivia de Havilland, whoever you were into, you went to see the movie. I'm still a little bit like that, yeah. If there's someone I like in it, it's going to sway me more to see it.
And you have to name the names if you don't want to, but how many of those people exist?
Not many.
Yeah.
Not many at all.
I'm like, even Harrison
handful.
Ford, I wouldn't go see what did he just do, the remake?
And look, it's not a guarantee that the film is going to be a success, right?
Correct.
How about look at what was that Russian movie, Red something, with what's her name? I know.
Red Scorpion?
with the
Lawrence, Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. Like, how could that be bad, right? And it was bad.
What about what was the one, the sci-fi that Harrison Ford just did, the remake from 100 years later? What was that one?
Right.
What's the name of that one? Anyway, that was
Blade Runner.
Yeah, Blade Runner. Not well received, not well. Meanwhile, he's one of these guys. You think he's sort of that stature.
Yep.
So anyway, so I think it's interesting that this is under the radar. If you get a chance, it's worth your while to take a look at. I think this, coupled with L.A., what was it, La La Land, has sort of opened, I'm not going to call it a floodgate, but opened a little bit of a spigot where there's a few now musicals that are in the works.
Oh, sure. Yeah, why wouldn't it? I mean, it's done really well, so... And now there's going to be copycats.
I would think that now the two composers of those two projects are absent from what we're going to mention here, Pasek and Paul. I don't know what they're working on. I'm sure the next thing they work on is going to be financed pretty well. They've made $1 billion between the two movies that they... Wow. I'm not saying they had the entire, reason for that, but their music, and in a musical that's pretty important, carried the day on both of these. And I wonder what... There's no album sales anymore, but I wonder what the sales of the soundtrack for The Greatest Showman is. In fact, I went to Barnes & Noble, isn't this odd, to buy the CD just to make it so my wife could throw it in her car. Nothing's there. There are no CDs for sale.
Well, they're not making CDs anymore.
No. So where do I go to put something in a car to listen to? It's an older car, so it only has a CD player.
No.
So I have to make a CD now from iTunes to put into the car?
Do you have music on your iPhone?
I
or
know,
your
but
Samsung?
you want the quality. You want those 4 speakers in the car. You know what I mean? You want to be surrounded by it.
You can play it in your car.
I'll have to look into that. It's a car from 3 or 4 years ago. I'm not sure they had the technology then. I'm not sure.
Okay.
So
I'll take it after the show. I'll go in your car and see if we can rig up in there for
all
you.
right, we'll see, because that would be helpful. She would come home with a smile, which is important for us at home to deal with that. So other than that.
Because you need a smile
they should
to get you. Oh, I thought we were still in the musical.
We should do a musical on Everything Old is New again.
About Everything Old is New?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Your life as like high schoolers until now.
Yeah. Try talking into the microphone.
Interesting. Say that again.
You guys should make a musical, and it starts with high schoolers.
And we go down the path of the dreadful CFO and attorney professions, and instead we want to come down into this studio basement and we want to record this show all the time, round the clock. This is what it's gonna be. This is gonna make we could break into song at any time.
But then why do you only do it? But then
say it again.
But then you would need to do it like every single.
Well, we could just do.
No, you mean to actually make a musical?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that what you mean? Like every single day?
For example, you would come over every day. I don't know if that's on your schedule, and you would come over every day, and then you just start making it every day.
So in other words, making what we're doing here, or the musical about it?
The musical. We're gonna make a musical about it.
Both. And like,
Yeah.
wait, what would your musical be called? Like Everything Old is New Again, the musical, or is that
Yes,
too long?
That's it.
or
That's
is
all.
Wait, what else?
Or is that too long? Like,
No, that's
Everything
fine.
was
I
new
was,
again,
I
the
was
musical.
thinking of like the old guys for some reason. I don't
Oh,
know.
the old
old
guys.
guys.
That's good.
I
The old
think
guys
even
in the
better.
basement.
The old guys. Who wouldn't see a movie with that title?
All right. Other than that original make, what do you have as far as some originals that are?
Wait,
gonna be
no.
presented?
We're brainstorming here. Don't ruin the creative process.
Exactly.
The old guys in the basement say, "What are they doing now?"
Look through the window.
Look. That's another song.
And like, they like.
Well, there's a lot of different songs we can make. How about we do something where we actually tell the audience what are going to be the brand new, original musicals that are going to be presented on the movies. You have them right there in front of you.
You see what your dad is doing here? We're
getting
on
off
a
topic,
roll.
yeah.
We're getting off topic. We're on this creative process to do the musical.
Well, I
about
could tell it was going nowhere,
everything.
so we had to.
Wow. Wow. I don't know.
I'll start writing.
You
Yeah,
should.
you do that.
Yeah. And don't let your dad
It'll be-
sidetrack
It'll
you.
be 1,000 pages long.
This could be
Okay.
the new Star is Born. Lady
Yeah, there you
Gaga
go.
bedeviled. This is Angelica's version of A New Star is Born, which is coming out soon.
All right, so what do we have? A minute left in
Yes.
the show?
Right.
All right.
Because we got off topic.
Exactly.
And?
Exactly. So now let's just keep going. Let's go. Come on. A song about everything old is new again.
I'm leaving. I'm getting out of this place. I cannot stand this courthouse in my face. I'm going. Go ahead.
And I'm tired of adding up numbers. I can't stand it anymore. Hey, Doug, let's do a show about stuff no one cares about anymore.
Let's call it everything. That's everything old is new again. Because I'm an old soul. That's it. It's the first number.
There you go.
But
Two
what is the
old
song
guys in the
called?
basement.
What is the song called? What is the song called?
Basement full of blues.
There we go. We got our first
Or how
number.
about
All right, Angelica has her own touch, her own thoughts about Hugh Jackman, and I want to hear a little something what she has to say while she's singing for us.
Greatest show! You great Hugh Jackman in Les Mis as well.
Watching my girls grow up. So let's go on.
This is the greatest show. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. And it's him right in front of you.
Coming full circle here.
This is where you want to be.
Everywhere you want to be, this is where you want to be. Right here on Everything Old is New Again. Certainly the message of that movie, one of them is that you are where you want to be, right there with your family. I mean, we're part of your family, aren't we? On Everything Old is New Again, let us know. We're going to go out and talk about the greatest show, which is The Greatest Showman or Everything Old is New Again.
Two old guys in the basement. Greatest show.
You've been listening to Everything Old is New Again, America's pop culture entertainment talk show. Find us on the web at everythingoldisnewagain.biz. That's .biz.
See you next week. Same bat time, same bat station.